Hello heart seekers and nature lovers. Welcome to another video from the Miskayani Medicine YouTube channel. And today I want to discuss a topic that is vital to our health. Boundaries. Some of us may not know what boundaries are, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about what they are, just to define them a little bit, and why they're so important to our health, and what that has to do with Andean medicine and nature. So, if you want to stay connected and learn more and you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe and post some comments so that we can interact as I release videos every 2 weeks. My name is Karen Weinman. I am a Pampamesayoq. I am trained by the Kero Indians who live high in the Andes Mountains as a Pampamesayoq. And I share my experiences with my students and my followers so that you too can heal the earth and the earth can heal you. So let's jump into this topic. Boundaries. Well, what are boundaries? Most of us know what boundaries are as a physical thing, right? So there's a boundary around our land, all right? A fence is a very physical boundary. But boundaries are also invisible. Yes, they separate us on levels that we don't quite understand, but they affect our personal space. They affect our feelings. They affect our needs and our responsibilities. They affect behavior between us and other people. It affects our relationships. We tell others how to treat us when we do or don't hold boundaries. Without boundaries, we'll be taken advantage of. Yes, it creates resentment within us and with others. Most of the time it's unconscious on both sides, and it just creates havoc in our relationships. When boundaries are crossed, we need to be conscious about them so that we can give feedback. Yes, we need to make decisions from within ourselves, how we want to take care of ourselves on a healthy level. So boundaries help you to hold your true self. Yes, they're a form of self-care. They create realistic expectations and they create safety. So what prevents you from setting them in the first place? Fear, of course. Most of us are so afraid that if we set them up, or we're afraid of the person that we don't want to put the boundary up against. We're not conscious of our behavior. That's a big one. Or we have very low self-esteem to the point that we become people pleasers. And, without them, without boundaries, we create dysfunctional relationships around us. We keep everybody trapped in a toxic behavior that creates resentment. And when we realize that we're not setting boundaries and how healthy they are and how much we need them, when we do set them, it does disrupt the status quo. But we've got to remember that in teaching others how to take care of us and how to speak our truth, we learn to bring ourselves health and peace for long term. Yes. So some people think that they have really good boundaries, and very often they're just brick walls and they're rigid and we're stuck behind them. And for some it's the opposite, and they're unkind, or they're not there at all, and we end up being completely drained. Yes, we just feel exhausted and we don't know why. Emotionally exhausted, energetically exhausted, just really tired and not really conscious of what happened. Yes? So when it comes to healthy boundaries, they create healthy relationships and they create healthy self-esteem. Boundaries are really, really important. Yes? And of course, they affect us on many levels, as I said earlier on, right? So we have physical boundaries where, we'll say to someone, I can't do this anymore. I need to go and eat. I need to watch the time. I need to get going, all right? Or please don't hug me. That's not appropriate. Very physical boundary, yes? Please don't go into my room without asking permission. Yes? Or emotionally, when we recognize how little emotional energy we have after a tiring day, and we say to someone who wants to now have a deep talk about some kind of emotional process, that we say, I'm really sorry, but I'm tired on an emotional level. I just can't do this right now. Yes, I can't take in when you're sharing with me. And what other boundaries are there? What about time? Yes, when we set a time and then we go over those boundaries. Valuing our needs is vital, right? Demanding time and professional advice when we're out of office hours. Classic boundary, all right? Or asking for advice when it's just not appropriate. These are all boundaries that we set. We set certain times of the day and we work in those times, and outside we've got personal time. We tell people when we've had enough. We hold boundaries when, we recognize where we are emotionally, or when we're feeling drained, or even sexual boundaries, and we say, no, this is not appropriate. I don't give consent, right? These are great examples of what boundaries are. Now, what has boundaries got to do with Andean medicine and with nature? So when we begin to work with Andean medicine, when we begin to work with nature, I begin by teaching my participants how to work with Hucha. If you haven't seen my video on Hucha and Sami, I will put the link in after down below in the content section. Go and look it up, but just briefly, Hucha is when we slow down Sami, when we slow down really juicy energy that's coming into our fields, into our bubbles, and we slow it down with our drama and our negativity and our head spaces, trying to control, right, being in fear. The moment we do that, it slows this energy down that we receive, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it becomes what we call Hucha. And all of us are unaware in the Western world that we walk around carrying loads and loads and loads of Hucha, and it makes us sick. It blocks our relationships. It blocks our creativity. Yes, it's just generally unhealthy for us. So when people come and do the Pachamama workshop with me, for example, I teach practices how to release Hucha. Yes, it's not complicated when you know how to dance with the earth. Yes? And then what I find is that my students start to realize as they go on this journey of releasing Hucha, number one, how much Hucha they've been carrying in their lives. And number two, they start to notice, and they'll say to me in a class, I can't believe how much I'm taking on from others. And this begins this topic because, Andean medicine is all about empowerment. Yes, this is a very empowering medicine. In order to be empowered, it means we need to see where we're not empowered, all right, where we are victims, where Hucha is in charge of what's going on in our lives. So as we learn, as students learn about Andean medicine and learning about where they are empowered and not empowered, they start to notice where they've got no power, where they are victims, all right, where they lose energy without consent, all right, where they take on, where someone takes from them when they're feeling drained. Most of us do this unconsciously, right? So, we in the Western world, we have a lot of conditioning that we need to clear out, right? As we were growing up, we watched our parents, we watched friends, we grew up watching our peers, how they struggled, had power issues for years. We don't question it, we don't notice it in ourselves, and we just continue this behavior, and we don't even notice that we have a choice, that we can change this behavior and discover a new way of being. But we do have a choice, And so what happens on my workshop, specifically the Pachamama workshop, because that's where I teach most of these tools, is that we learn practices to release Hucha, all right, to release our conditioning, clearing the way to empower ourselves. And then there is a specific practice that I share where it supports us to either open up fully to nature and absorb, her beautiful energy, or to protect ourselves when we need to, when we're in environments that don't work for us, or around people that push our buttons, or around groups where it's, we just can't protect our energy, and we want to empower ourselves. This practice comes into play. And it's important for me to share that I don't share these practices like handing out sweets to everybody. It's not an instant fix. It definitely shifts us. It definitely gets us looking at the world in a different way, and exploring what power is for us. And the more we do these practices and continue doing them, so we grow our power, so we grow our awareness, so we release Hucha. All right, these practices are not the answer to our problems just by holding this boundary. We need to also release the conditioning. We need to release Hucha. We need to awaken our consciousness, yes, and empower ourselves. This happens naturally along the way of doing these practices. And before we know it, we're in relationships where we're teaching people how to treat us. That's not a way to treat me. Here's my boundary. Please take care. And suddenly we discover that we've got way more energy, all right? That we've got a lot more emotional richness that we can tap into and share. And we've got the energy to be able to interact with people even after a long day of work, yes? So awakening our awareness of what we are doing with our boundaries is really, really vital. There's so many ripple effects. And when we start to learn about boundaries and that we can work directly with them, we grow our consciousness in a new way, and we teach the people around us. And as I hold a healthy boundary around someone, they learn, oh, this is what a healthy boundary is. And then they pass it on. And of course, we each, release our conditioning. So we do this for the collective. And so the ripple goes on and on and on. So it takes time. I see it in so many of my clients that they learn how to hold boundaries, and it shifts their relationships. Never mind, of course, that it helps them in their interaction with nature and with the earth. Yes, everything is connected. So when we find a way to heal something like boundaries, we have a ripple effect on our entire cosmic world. So we shift our self-esteem, our self-worth. Yes, we build safety up within ourselves in order to be healthy. So come and join me for a Pachamama workshop. You'll learn about all these techniques and these practices that you can take home, and you can empower yourself and shift your life and have healthy boundaries and healthy levels of energy, rejuvenating yourself. This is just one thing, right? I share a lot of practices on Pachamama workshop to help us all be healthy, because when we're healthy, the collective is healthy, nature's healthy. We take care of each other and we take care of the earth. Find more information on Miskayani.com. All the links are down below. If you want to continue hearing messages, remember to like and subscribe, because I release videos every 2 weeks. Be in touch then. Take care. Lots of love. Bye for now.